This Bengals offensive line not looking the hottest after 2 weeks. 13 sacks. Joe Burrow has been sacked, I repeat, 13 times so far in this short NFL season. Now, in a little bit of defense to the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line, they may have arguably just went up against the top two, before he got injured in TJ Watt, the top two candidates to win a Defensive Player of the Year this year, in Micah Parsons and TJ Watt, and it sure did show. And then the Dallas Cowboys, you had Parsons, they had no control over until it looked like he started to get exhausted late in the game. They had no control over. And then when you have Diggs out wide, you have that elite combination, and that makes things a nightmare and a matchup nightmare for a Bengals offense that, again, depends on those one-on-ones when teams bring the blitz, or depends on their offensive line to block a little bit so plays can develop. That being said, there's more to it than just TJ Watt and Micah Parsons when your quarterback's being sacked 13 times in 2 games. First and foremost, your question, I think my biggest question of it is, why were these guys being single covered the majority of these sacks anyway? I think every time you look, it's a one-on-one. They should be double teaming these guys, following them around the field. We've seen Jonah Williams get burnt a couple of times. We've seen La'el Collins get burnt a couple of times. We've seen this happen again when the Steelers game. We've seen it happen in the Cowboys game, more in the Steelers, where the Bengals had a hard time handing the football off because defensive linemen were in the backfield all over Burrow and Joe or Mixon before the ball is even moving anywhere. Lots of problems there from a chemistry standpoint. We said this week 1. We're going to say it again in week 2. I am not overly concerned about the offensive line. There's reason to be concerned. There's a lot of reason to be concerned. But I think it is a game of gelling. The thing that worked with this Bengals. Remember, this is a Bengals day. You got to remember how important chemistry is in the NFL. The Bengals defense last year got put together. There's a lot of question marks about it. But these pieces meshed well. They gelled well. Look how good this Bengals defense has been this last year and 2 games now. It takes playing together, it takes consistency, and it really takes that from an offensive line standpoint, and I still do believe the Bengals are going to get things right. Do I think, again, we're not sure. We're not sure where this offensive line ends up. I don't think it's going to be as horrible as it is these first 2 games. I think we're going to see a pretty good improvement. Again, middle of the pack's the best I think the Bengals need is the middle of the pack offensive line. But the question is, when you look at this offensive line, who sticks out and who really glares right now? And I tell you, that man to me is La'el Collins. I don't know what to say about the guy. I'm really concerned because there's things that's a chemistry thing. And then there's things that you look at an offensive lineman and you question what he's doing as an individual on the field. Again, week 1, week 2, Burrow's having a hard time getting the ball out quickly. He's having a hard time getting the ball out at all to the right side of the field because La'el Collins is not sticking his man. We're seeing these guys jump 3 feet in the air with their hands up, blocking tip or short pass or screen pass. Burrow can't get rid of the ball because Collins can't keep his man down long enough for Burrow to get rid of that football. We've seen this week, again, how does it happen? It happened last week with TJ Watt. How do you let Micah Parsons go in unprotected untouched? He just walked straight past La'el Collins. How do you not have the awareness? And that concerns me. The awareness to see that Micah Parsons is lined up there. You are the only guy on that side of the line, and he is on your side. There is zero excuse to not pick that up. And I think what concerned me again was we watched the Bengals. It was 9-17. They was driving down the field. They threw the touchdown, got the TD, and there was a Higgins on a rollout by Joe Burrow. We watched Collins zeroing in on him again. They rushed 3, the Cowboys did. They had 2 of them contained. The other guy was double or triple teamed already. And Collins didn't have a man. He looked around real quick, and he went to his left, helped the double team, and just pushed the guy down to a triple team the guy. Meanwhile, his quarterback is rolling out to the right. There's 3 Cowboys in front of him. It's a perfect time. You want to see your tackle recognize that, roll out with him, attempt to block with those guys, give Burrow a little extra time, whatever. Didn't matter. Bengals scored a touchdown, but stuff like that. It is awareness things that you look at a right tackle and think they should be picking up on this stuff, and that worries me with La'el Collins. Again, it is early in the season. Guys can start slow. Hopefully that's the case with Collins. I think that's the case with this offensive line. I think they have to gel. I think the Jets is a make it right kind of game for this offensive line. I really do. And I think things start to trend in the right direction. I think that's where it starts. I think they just need to get a little bit of traction. Even Burrow is starting to look a little bit flustered back there. He's normally calm, cool, and collected. We ain't seen these comeback Bengals that we've seen last season, these first 2 games. And I think we're going to start to see things change. They have to, really. And it has to start in week 3. I think the offensive line, that was your bottom point was Dallas, Pittsburgh, and this is the legitimate trend up here you see against the Jets. And I'll see what they can do against the Ravens. But again, I think things can only get better. There's definitely some concerns 2 weeks into the season with that Bengals offensive line. That Bengals offense in general. Burrow's got to do a better job at times, too, of getting rid of the football. But at the same time, in his defense, when you only got 2 guys running around sometimes because the rest are blocking, takes time for plays to develop. They're not always open. He's more careful with the football. He has been running the ball more lately. We've seen him be more effective that way. That's going to open things up, I think, for this Bengals offense as well. We'll see. 2 games, though. It's only been 2 games. Not losing faith in these Bengals. It just takes a game or 2 to get things rolling. They can catch a hot streak. I think they're more than capable of it. I love when this team plays with their backs against the wall. That is when they play their best football. There is no bigger backs up against the wall moment than when you start the season 0-2, because if you go 0-3, there is a very, very good chance you're not making playoffs. I think the Bengals bounce back, though. Love to hear you guys' thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.